Good evening. It's Sunday, April 17th. Happy Easter to those who celebrate such a thing. I'm going to finally bite the bullet and talk about profit. I've talked about setting prices and so forth. Let's talk about profit. Okay, so in theory, I buy some clay for 50 cents a pound. I turn a pound of it into a coffee cup. I sell the coffee cup for $20, $19.50 profit. No, no. For one thing, there's more to it than just buying the material. There's the cost of the glaze that I'm going to add to it. There's the cost of, in my case, two firings, although I suppose I could choose to learn to once fire. There was the cost associated with getting the wheel and getting the kiln, and in some extent getting the training, having a building to do it in. Okay, that's just creating it. Okay, so now I have this coffee cup, and now I'm going to try to sell it. Okay, so what are the costs associated with trying to sell it? Okay, so maybe there's an entry fee to get to a sale, and then there's, I need a vehicle, I need fuel for the vehicle, I need to go there. Okay, it gets complicated. And doing your taxes as a business doesn't do a whole lot to simplify this sense of complication. For one thing, when I was full-time, I would take good use of the sort of rounding off mechanisms. So there's a daily allowance for travel, for instance, however many dollars a day, calculated by quarters of the day and so forth. There was also a way to generalize the vehicle expense. So rather than do your exact costs, you could take advantage of their number. It would vary from year to year, say, 50 cents a mile to travel or whatever. I don't know what the current one is. So there are ways to, calculate your profit in terms of your taxes that really is only calculating your taxable profit. It doesn't actually identify your actual profit because, for instance, if your vehicle expenses are lower than the allowance, okay, well, then you made more than the paperwork makes it appear. Okay, so it's complicated. One of the things that we can say for certain is that you're not going to make enough profit on a single item to continue in business. You have to add the sales of multiple objects. So the question is just how many. Okay, so obviously some people at one end have done the math, have decided that what they need to do is make and sell 100 pots a day, let's say. Well, there are expenses associated with that aren't associated with making 10 pots a day. So yes, you're making more money, but you're also spending more money. So when I talk about setting your price, I'm assuming, rightly or wrongly, that if you set your price at something similar to what your community sets your price at, that there's a profit in there. That you will bring more money in than you spent in the process. What that happens to be, I don't know, because I don't know your costs. I don't know the cost of housing. I don't know the cost of travel. Maybe you don't know either, which is why I emphasize the emotional. Because there's a lot of profit you can do that's frankly not financial. I profit emotionally from being an object maker. My children profited by traveling with me to sales, having a personal observation of the manufacturing and retail process and seeing the Grand Canyon, which we got to see not because it was a special trip, but because it was just an hour each way when we were in Flagstaff anyway on the way to going to Phoenix, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So potentially you've got three ways of calculating profit. One is completely based on experience. Am I having a good time? Am I emotionally a better person? Do the people around me benefit from this activity that I'm doing? Does my community benefit from this activity that I'm doing? All on an emotional level, on a life experience level. Then the second way is, did I sell this object for less than I paid to make it? And that can be in the micro, in the sense of, I bought some clay, I did some things. Did I end up giving away these objects? I mean, sometimes you do. You just give them away, Okay, so there's no financial profit there. And then there's the third sort of most grown-up, most calculating one, where not only have you done all the calculations and performed all the functions so well that you're living well, you're even setting aside money for your retirement. You're profiting. You're setting yourself up to be a success, potentially past the age of making objects. I mean, that would be the most adult, most competent version of having a profitable business, including potentially selling your pottery, your whole arrangement, to an up-and-coming potter who can then take it over and make a profit too. That would be the most successful, most profitable, most adult version of being a potter. And I can't claim to be that at all. So when you're calculating for yourself, you might have to, in effect, create three columns. The first is this emotional, is it worth doing? The second is this financial, is it worth doing? And the third is this super financial, am I really doing this as well as it can be done? It's very simplified. And people go to graduate school in business to learn better than what I've just told you. But there it is, profit. Good luck.